welcome to the channel. Today we're tackling a subject that's kind of a big deal. Anxiety. It's something that affects a ton of people, and I mean We're not just talking about feeling a little stressed out here, we're talking about real, genuine anxiety disorders. Over the course of this video we're going to delve into what anxiety actually, explore the different ways it can manifest, and most importantly, talk about what you can actually about it, because here's the thing, anxiety might be common, but it doesn't have to rule your life. So, whether you're personally struggling with anxiety, know someone who is, or just want to understand this complex emotion a little better, stick around, let's learn something new together. Okay, first up, let's talk about Generalized Anxiety Disorder, or GAD. And I kind of wish they'd been a little more creative with the name, because generalized really does sum it up. GAD is like the worrywart of anxiety disorders. It's constantly buzzing in the background, making you feel like something is wrong, even if you can't quite put your finger on what it is. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and your brain immediately starts making a to-do list of everything that could possibly go wrong that day. You're worried about work, your relationships, your health, the news, the weather. You name it, you're anxious about it. And this isn't just a fleeting thought, it's this persistent, nagging feeling that follows you around like a shadow. People with GAD often describe it as feeling constantly on edge, like they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like your brain is stuck in overdrive, replaying worst-case scenarios on repeat, and it can manifest physically too. You might feel restless, have trouble sleeping, experience muscle tension, or even have digestive issues. Now here's the thing about GAD, it's not just about worrying. We all worry from time to time, it's a natural human response, but with GAD the worry is excessive, uncontrollable, and it significantly impacts your daily life. It's like trying to focus on a conversation while someone's blasting an air horn in the background. It's distracting, overwhelming, and makes it really hard to function. The good news is, GAD is treatable. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be incredibly helpful in learning how to manage those anxious thoughts and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Next up, we're diving into panic disorder, and this one can be particularly scary because it often seems to come out of nowhere. Imagine this. You're just going about your day, everything seems normal, and then suddenly, it hits you. An overwhelming wave of fear that washes over you like a tidal wave. Your heart starts racing, you can't catch your breath, you might feel dizzy or lightheaded, and your chest tightens up like someone's standing on it. You might even feel like you're going crazy or having a heart attack. These are all classic symptoms of a panic attack, and let me tell you, they are. Now here's the thing about panic attacks. They're your body's fight or flight response going haywire. It's like your body is responding to a life-threatening situation even though there's no actual danger present. And because these attacks can be so sudden and unexpected, people with panic disorder often develop a constant fear of having another one. This fear can be so debilitating that it starts to control their lives. They might avoid certain places or situations where they've had panic attacks before, or they might even stop leaving the house altogether. It's like their world starts to shrink as they try to outrun these unpredictable episodes of terror. But here's the good news. Panic disorder is also treatable. Therapy, medication, and even lifestyle changes can all play a role in managing panic attacks and regaining control. Alright, let's talk about social anxiety disorder, or SAD, which is way more common than you might think. And it's more than just being shy or introverted, it's an intense fear of social situations that can be completely debilitating. Imagine this. You're invited to a party, but the thought of going fills you with dread. Your heart starts racing, your palms sweat, and you feel physically ill just thinking about having to talk to people. You might worry about saying the wrong thing, being judged, or embarrassing yourself, even if you know those fears are irrational. People with SAD often feel like they're constantly being watched and evaluated, like they're under a spotlight and everyone is scrutinizing their every move. They might avoid social gatherings altogether, struggle to speak up in class or at work, or even find it difficult to make eye contact. It's important to remember that SAD is not just about being uncomfortable in social situations, it's about the of that discomfort and the way it impacts your life. If your fear of social interactions is preventing you from pursuing your goals, maintaining relationships, or simply enjoying your life, then it might be time to seek professional help. The good news is, just like with other anxiety disorders, SAD is treatable. Therapy, particularly CBT, can be incredibly effective in challenging negative thought patterns and developing coping mechanisms for social situations. Okay, let's talk about phobias. Now, we all have things we're afraid of, right? Spiders, heights, clowns, those are all pretty common ones. But a phobia takes that fear to a whole other level. Imagine this, you see a spider, and I'm not talking about a giant hairy tarantula, just a regular everyday house spider. But for someone with arachnophobia, that tiny spider might as well be a monster from a horror movie. Their heart races, they break out in a cold sweat, they might even have a panic attack. And it's not just spiders, of course. Phobias can center around almost anything. Snakes, dogs, flying needles, enclosed spaces, the list goes on. And the thing about phobias is, they're often completely irrational. You know, logically that a tiny spider can't actually hurt you, but that doesn't make the fear any less real. The fear associated with a phobia is so intense that it can significantly impact your life. You might go to great lengths to avoid the object or situation you're afraid of, even if it means rearranging your entire life. The good news is, phobias are very treatable. Exposure therapy, in particular, has been shown to be incredibly effective in helping people overcome their phobias. Okay, let's talk about obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD. Now, you might have heard people say things like, "Oh, I'm so OCD," when they're talking about liking things to be neat and organized, but OCD is so much more than that. It's a serious mental health condition that can be incredibly debilitating. Imagine this. You can't stop thinking about germs. Every surface seems contaminated. Every doorknob feels like a biohazard. You wash your hands over and over again, but it never feels like enough. The fear of contamination is so overwhelming that it starts to control your life. That's just one example of what OCD can look like. It's characterized by obsessions, which are unwanted and intrusive thoughts, images, or urges that cause intense anxiety. And then there are compulsions, which are repetitive behaviors or mental acts that people with OCD feel driven to perform in order to reduce that anxiety. So, in the example I just gave, the obsession is the fear of germs, and the compulsion is the excessive hand washing. But obsessions and compulsions can take many different forms. Some people with OCD might have intrusive thoughts about harming themselves or others even though they have no desire to do so. Others might have a need to arrange things in a very specific way, or count objects repeatedly. The key thing to remember is that OCD is not about being a perfectionist or liking things to be clean. It's about the intensity of the obsessions and compulsions, and the way they impact your daily life. If you're struggling with OCD, it's crucial to seek professional help. Finally, let's talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Now, this is a heavy one, but it's important to talk about. PTSD can develop after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event like a car accident, physical or sexual assault, war, or natural disaster. Imagine this, you're constantly on edge, jumpy at every little sound. You have nightmares about the event, flashbacks that transport you right back to that moment, making you feel like you're reliving the trauma over and over again. People with PTSD often experience a range of symptoms, including intrusive memories, nightmares, flashbacks, emotional numbness, difficulty sleeping, irritability, difficulty concentrating, and an exaggerated startle response. They might avoid places, people, or activities that remind them of the trauma, and they might have difficulty experiencing positive emotions. PTSD is a complex condition, and it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to treatment. It often involves a combination of therapy, medication, and support groups. Seeking professional help is crucial for managing PTSD and working through the trauma. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the complex world of anxiety disorders. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I know it can be a lot to process. If you're struggling with anxiety, remember this: you're not alone. Millions of people around the world experience anxiety disorders, and there is help available. Reaching out to a mental health professional is a sign of strength, not weakness. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on mental health and well-being. Take care of yourselves and keep those brains sparkly. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more informative content. Remember, understanding anxiety is the first step towards managing it. Stay healthy and take care.